All right. Ready?
Hi, I'm Wesley Hall, and I'm the Minister of Music and the Arts here at the First Baptist Church of Worcester. And I'm excited to share with you the Organ Project. The Organ Project is a multi-phased initiative to steward our resources, honor our past, and realize our dreams by moving the pipe organ from the chapel into the rear gallery of the sanctuary, where it will be restored and reimagined as a splendid example of 18th century brilliance.
So how was it that you came to hear about the Walker Organ Company?
I had a student here that was coaching with me at the time, and subsequently she moved to the UK. In the meantime, she had played some Walker organs, one in particular that impressed her mightily. And she said, "You've got to come here and hear some of these organs, this one in particular." So I arranged to go there through the owner of the company, and they took me on a tour of organs of large and small, and I was mightily impressed with the beauty of them and the construction, the quality.
My name is William Ness. I am the Minister of Music and Arts Emeritus at First Baptist Church of Worcester. I was here from 2001 to 2015, and I was very privileged to play two really very marvelous organs. The great organ in the sanctuary and this fine instrument in the chapel is built by the J.W. Walker and Company.
A tracker instrument, like the Walker in the chapel, is something totally different. In a tracker, you have a physical connection to the pipe. You're actually opening it yourself without any kind of technological intermediary. And this gives you an almost primal connection to the music. I remember a member here asking me why he was moved to tears when he heard the Walker, and I think that's a big part of it.
With the combination of the great organ and this organ in the rear gallery, we will be able to faithfully recreate music that spans 800 years.
Once the organ is installed in the rear gallery, we can begin the second phase of the Organ Project, kicking off the William Ness Concert Series. This will be a community-based concert series where we draw on the considerable talents of local organists, schools, and youth music programs. And then once a year, we'll invite the greatest keyboardists from the planet to come to Worcester and play both instruments in glorious concert. The best part is we'll be rededicating the organ to Barkley Wood, our beloved Minister of Music and the Arts, whose 40-year musical legacy was felt throughout Massachusetts and beyond.
If you were sitting there wondering how the hell do you move a pipe organ up to the rear gallery of a church, well, you found the right TikTok page. First things first, you need to assemble a giant hoist so that you don't have to take every single thing up the long winding stairs to the gallery. Next, you're going to have to build out a platform here where you removed all of the pews so that the organ can sit out at the height it should be. Once all the wood is brought up and the platform is built, the organ can start being brought up piece by piece, pipe by pipe. Before that happens though, the pipes will all be carefully cleaned and the organ will be sort of restored along the way. Then at the end, you'll have the full pipe organ reaching up into the top of the barrel vaulted ceiling and railing so the organist doesn't, fall down. I honestly can't believe this is happening. We've been working on it for years. The pipe organs come in all shapes and sizes. The one that we're moving is not like the one you usually see on here. It does have two manuals. It does have, hundreds and hundreds of pipe, but it's more like moving a giant piano that's hollow and full of pipes than it is like building a new organ. Definitely follow to see more of the project and of the actual organ and the pipework getting hoisted up to the rear gallery. Be forewarned though, if you do, you're also going to have some just nerdy other organ stuff on here, so you need to know what you're getting into.
Back here, we will have, it will be a little bit deeper. There's some more supers pipes that go there, maybe another 8 inches in addition to this, which is not drawn here. But there will be still plenty of room to walk. You walk by.
Sure. Cool.
And then here on the left side we have the enclosure for the bellows, the enclosure, enclosure for the Super 16.
Yep.
The enclosure for the bellows, the darker green, and the enclosure for the motor here.
My first annual meeting in this chapter was 1988, and William and I walked into the back of the auditorium up in the second level mezzanine where we were having dinner around round tables. And I saw one table full of all these very austere, august-looking men in suits. William himself was there, Luke Richards, Ronald Stallford, Barry Wood. I was told the names of everybody sitting around the table, but I remember thinking, Barkley Wood, okay, I had heard he was at the Baptist church. And subsequent to that, I of course ran into him at different events, but it wasn't until William became the minister of music here that I got to know him a little better. And my favorite story is that after any event that happened at the church that Barry attended, like choral evensong or a recital, I would get home ahead of William, separate cars, and the phone would ring about 5 minutes later. Hello, Marjorie, this is Barkley Wood. And I wanted to just give William my greetings about how well the event went. Is he home? No, he's not home. But those calls came all the time for many years, even though he very well knew William wasn't home. And we would have a warm exchange and talk about the program, and then, well, I better let you go. Good night. So I think Barry was a true gentleman.
Hi, I'm Ronna Archbold Davis. I'm the Dean of the Worcester chapter of the American Guild of Organists, and I'm presently playing at the Wesley United Methodist Church here in Worcester. You know, I really can't remember the first time that I met or encountered Barry, but I did take some lessons from him. I was playing on a very small Stevens organ out in Sterling, Massachusetts, and he came to be with me at that little organ from that huge Reuter that he plays. Poor guy, it must have been like looking in a box of 6 crayons compared to the large. How many can you get in one Crayola box now? I was very moved that he would do that. Another recollection that I have about Barry, in addition to the navy jacket, the burgundy tie, and the gray slacks, was a class that we took called Conducting from the Console. That made a huge difference in my life. And it wasn't just about sitting on that bench and waving your shoulders or your eyebrows. He also talked about the moment that you enter the worship place. He said, your ego comes in. And he didn't mean that in an arrogant way. He was doing that to teach us. If anything, I felt I got confidence and humility from his making that statement. And I've reflected on that many times. It does take an ego to sit on that bench, pull those stops, and make those huge noises.
The hoist is built and the platform is framed. What's going on this platform? An organ. Obviously, the organ's gonna sit on top of this part with their back facing out to the room. The winding will go under the floor here and then pop up into a box that will be built here with the blower. Soundproofed, of course. There's quite a bit of space above our heads here. The organ is probably, twice my height? The sound it makes will be up in the barrel vault. Echo! There used to be really heavy, long pews running both sides the whole way. They cut them in half and refixed the sides so they're like half length and they'll stack down along the sides of the organ. But when it's all done, we'll have 2 pipe organs, one up here and one way up there. The possibilities are endless. In addition to our new concert series, which will launch in the spring, we'll also be able to alternate verses of hymns and do 2 organ stuff. It'll be amazing. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to see more of the project. Sorry for the bad pun. God, I'm hopeless.
I'm Barbara Sinclair Ward. I'm the facilitator of worship, art, and music here at First Baptist Church and have been in that role for most of the organ project. I still remember when the J.W. Walker was installed in Davis Chapel back in the 1980s, and how exciting it was because it was a brand new instrument that Barry Wood was very instrumental in getting to us. It provided us with amazing music for weddings and memorial services and Christmas Eve services and Lenten services and all sorts of wonderful events here in Davis Chapel. When I heard that there was a possibility of it being moved to the sanctuary, I was thrilled. It was about time that it was going to be able to be used again, and the phrase that has been used over and over again, to give it its voice. And that just, it fills my heart. It brings back so many, I'm gonna cry. It brings back so many wonderful memories of Barry and the music that he provided for so many people. And I'm just thrilled that we are going to be able to hear it once again in the sanctuary and to rededicate the organ to Barry and to inaugurate the William Ness concert series, and that Barry and William's legacy will live on.
When I was a kid, my parents took me to an Episcopal church in Davenport, Iowa, of all places, that had a really remarkable organ. It was built in the late 70s, not about the same time as this organ, and more or less in the same style as this organ. It's sort of historically minded, but contemporary organ building. And I was fascinated by that instrument. That was my kind of introduction to the organ. And it was always my favorite part of going to church, was listening to the organ or pretending to play the organ, or watching the organist at work. So I found this project to be quite wonderful, touchstone, taking me back to my childhood and the instrument that really got me interested in the organ in the first place. And there are more of those tubes. Yeah. So the chancel organ is built in an orchestral style. It's built to sound like an orchestra, and it even has stops in it that will mimic instruments of the orchestra, like French horns and clarinets and even strings. This organ, partly because of its size and partly because of the tonal design of it, is really built on the model of a choir. There are lots of different voices that can blend together in very interesting ways. And some of the voices are very high and clear, and some of the voices have more gravel in them. It's a lot like a human choir.
So here we're looking at the pedal chest, and on this instrument all the pipes are hosed off with these hoses here, and they're all glued in. Typically some pipes are sitting on the chest, but in this case they tube everything off. There's a toe board back here that was cut apart for some reason during the installation, maybe to make it easier to get all those hoses in place and glued in. And we were hoping to be able to take this out, but it seems like that's gonna get complicated. So we're trying to move it all as a whole. I have to really remember the sequence to get them back in at the right time. So
I'm mad because this whole time I've been missing out on the opportunity to call this the Great Organ Transplant. I mean, think about it, the pipe organ's being cut out in pieces and moved from one room into another host room. And that room will be healthy when all is said and done, just like an organ transplant. For real though, it is wild to see all of these interior components of the instrument just laid out across all the pews in the chapel. Look at this stuff, it is so intricate. Look at these wind lines. The complexity of this project really blows my mind. I mean, I have multiple music degrees, I am a pipe organist by trade, and I have learned so much just watching this. So how far are we into the project?
Well, my best guess is about 25%.
Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm actually really impressed that they're 25% done, because there are so many component parts that need to be worked on. Also, the entire time they're working on stuff in the shop, and so not everything is even happening here. By the way, these are called trackers, and they're how you control a mechanical action instrument. It is so cool to see them, oh my gosh.
I have to hold walking on a dolly, so it's mobile. See? Everything is on wheels now. And we're going to be taking this wind chest off also because because of the height. It's very, very close in terms of getting through the doors and getting up into the balcony. So we decided to take that piece off also. It's also weight-wise better.
Now that all the electrical work is done, the oak floor has been blended in, and it's looking really, really good. Of course, the floor is going to be stained so that it matches and ties in with the rest of the floor up here. Aesthetics are key. Over in the chapel, things are coming along really well. They're dismantling the actual core of the wooden instrument itself. These pipe trays will be used to take everything over on big carts across from the chapel all the way over to the sanctuary. While the chapel and the sanctuary are very far from one another, the good news is that it's on one level the entire way. So you roll the cart all the way down the sidewalk, up another sidewalk, up all the way to the steeple, and then you go in through the doors into the sanctuary and to its final home here, where it will stay forevermore. We're starting to get that feeling like it's really happening, and that feels so unbelievably good. Be sure to follow if you want to see how the rest of this project happens and hear the instrument once it's all set up right here in this space. Thanks for watching.
It's just sitting on those two blocks, okay? So we don't want any kind of lateral move. Let's give it an inch of lift. Check the front blocks, make sure they're not tipping or anything.
I see one. It's
tipping?
good. No, it's good.
Okay. This is where we're going to go for now. We're going to establish the position first before we put it down.
Ryan's right through that shellac.
Yes.
I mean, it was beautiful and
But
it sounded gorgeous.
But this is different. This is so different.
Thank you, Barry. And I was thinking about Barry and the concert coming up and thinking about how Barry put the Walker organ over there and history was to have here. And then we're going to have the concert series with William, in honor of William and his emphasis on getting young people and kids involved.
That's true.
And then I was thinking of you, dear Wesley, who put it all together.
Well,
You know,
and
you're
the
just, you're
other thing-
continuing that vision and that ministry and that love for people and music. And I just keep coming back to the fact that music is so much more than music.
It's
It's so much more than,
Yeah, that looks a lot like the way it must have come. That's good.
Well, and I remember when that organ went in.
wow.
I do.
Well, you're older than God.
No, my kids have said I'm older than dirt. So,
No, it kind of just it gave out. Yeah, but
We need to bring zip ties. We have a couple of those with screw holes.
I rerouted these two.
So, as First Baptists, we're a community of people who gather together. We're uniting around our beliefs about God, as different as they may be, but we want to live them out. We want to embody those, and we find a lot of commonality in those directions. And so, we're serving our community, trying to help address issues of homelessness and food insecurity. We're wanting to be more upfront about our support and inclusion of LGBTQ people in a Baptist church especially. And so for us, all these different aspects of serving the community are really important because they model, they are us embodying what it is we believe about God, a God who loves everybody, who is passionate about the good of everybody, that everybody can flourish in this life. That's really important to us as a community, as a congregation. And so from that, we'll worship every Sunday, and we care so much about the arts, about music, about beauty. And so it's not only about service, it's also about the ways that we can see and experience God for ourselves. And then that comes back around to then us sharing with others again the love of God through these different areas of compassion and justice in the community.
I'm Stefan Meyer. Our company is called Tracker Organs. Over the years, I've worked on many different instruments, and there's certainly differences in quality for sure. This one is of a very high quality standard, no doubt. I'm very impressed with the pipes themselves. They speak very well. Even though we did some revoicing, it was very consistent to the steps that we needed to take from one pipe to the next, which is always an indication that there is good quality to start with, a good base to start from. So we could bring up the the volume and the voice of the 8-foot in the grate quite a bit, and which was needed for the larger space. And there's definitely, it's always good to work on an instrument which was well made, because then whatever effort you put into it, and energy and money, whatever you put into it, is well spent, because you're building on solid footing.
I'll have to go into the
William has embraced the organ since he was 10 years old, and he loves the instrument. It's just a part of him that I can't imagine him stopping playing. I met him in 1974 and was aware right away that he was considered the best student in the department, and so that was a challenge for me. And I think my personality was a challenge for him, so we spent a lot of time together, and I saw the growth over the years of a person who, if he couldn't do something or didn't know what literature existed, he went after it. He's always writing publishers, he's writing composers, he's commissioning music. I would consider him among the strongest of organists in his collegial group.
The William Ness Concert Series will enable children and young people, as I've said before, to have experiences that they might not otherwise have. And in doing so, it will give them the confidence and the education to perhaps pursue their own dreams in music. Sometimes children can be made fun of because they like certain kinds of music over against another kind of music. And so to be able to come to a space where they are encouraged and empowered, and they are cared for who they are, and the type of music they like doesn't really matter. It's just that they're there and the relationships are being built, is another powerful reason that I'm excited for all of this to take place.
I think the AGO got it right a few years ago when they gave him a Master Teacher Award, because he is willing to take on people from different backgrounds and musically speaking and work with them. He holds them to a high standard. There's no getting by with sloppiness, but those people can, can go somewhere afterwards. So he loves to teach, and he'll coach somebody at a higher level, but he has a lot of younger students, beginners.
I think what is really exciting about these two organs now living in the same room, it's an opportunity to do another huge introduction and incorporate a lot of people. If we could get small children to come and see this, if we could put this out in even broader, further audiences than just organists, I think this is an opportunity to include maybe jazz musicians, ballet, all of the arts could be brought into this particular facility because it does lend itself to the arts.
It was a while before I discovered that Barkley Wood was a sales representative for Walker. And I realized that that was really something with the instruments that he had in the sanctuary, that he was championing the building and placement of tracker instruments of various sizes in places, especially starting in Worcester. We actually have a little walker at home, a 3-rank walker, and my husband put one into the college church up in Lancaster, and we understand that instrument. From the beginning of this whole movement of the Relocating, there's been layers and layers of learning about the historic building. And one of the layers that's involved is temperament. And I have to say, along with my story about the panel of people at Oberlin, I never was a student with the new Flint truck tracker, but I was encouraged to go see a Brumbow tracker in a Lutheran church in Lorraine where David Bowe played. And I played something in F major, and I thought I had been translated to heaven.
I hope those who haven't had a chance to work with Marjorie and William Ness will somehow make an opportunity to make that happen. These are two people that are at the top of their game, but at the same time, they are mentoring, they are supportive, there is not 1 ounce of arrogance, not one bit of unapproachability. So if you haven't had a chance to take a class, study organ, or just interact on any kind of something you've wondered about music, or something you'd like to learn about the organ, or any aspect of it, engage them. They are amazing. They have incredible talents, and they have a great way of communicating them and teaching them to the rest of us.
You know, it crosses my mind that as a Christian church, we believe in God as a creator, whatever that might have looked like as it came to pass. But ultimately, what we believe is that God is creative, that there is just this innate creativity to God. And I think about, at least during my time, that I can speak to that, during my time here, there have been so many examples of our congregation being creative, being open to change. And I think that spirit, the congregation's creative spirit, is evident in this. So Wesley is on our staff as our Minister of Music and the Arts, and he is not going to do something for our church or within our congregation or in our building that isn't in line with what we're doing or what we value. And so for this to be possible is both evidence of what our congregation values, but also evidence of what we believe about God and what we believe about the world. And that creativity didn't end in that one moment of creation as it unfolded, however, but it continues within all of us. Whether you are a Christian or a person of the Jewish tradition or Islamic tradition or just spiritual or no religion at all, there is creativity within all of us. And this is just one glimpse of how we can come together around that. And I think that's really special.
Thank you too, Wesley. Okay, let's go.
Hello, I'm William Ness, Minister of Music and Arts Emeritus. I want to invite you to come hear music and connection in this community of First Baptist Church. There are now 2 magnificent organs in this room. Please join us.
The organ project is done. All the pipes are in. We're ready. We finished it after years of planning and dreaming and working. It's done right now for the first time. And as I sit here, I'm filled with a profound sense of gratitude. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful to you, some of you watching this video right now, to this community, people in First Baptist and beyond, far beyond. Without a community, none of this matters, right? But we have that, we have the community, and we're connecting. And that's the whole point of this. As Minister of Music and the Arts here at First Baptist Church, I want to say thank you. Thank you to the church. Thank you to the wider community. Thank you to all of you watching this, all of you here tonight, all of you who will be here in the future at these William Ness concerts. I want to say thank you to William Ness for your legacy of excellence and care for young people. And I want to say thank you to Barkley Wood. And you're with us tonight, even though you're not here in the flesh. Your legacy lives on. You spent 40 years, longer than I've been alive, dedicated to this place and dedicated to your community. And your voice still sings out and inspires us. We're going to dedicate the organ. We're going to wrap up this project and we're going to look to the future. And if you want to be a part of it, we welcome you. Thank you. Thank you for the gift. The gift of music.
Having served here for 40 years as organist and choir director, it's gratifying to me to realize that in the year 2020, I'll be able to come back and hear this organ in its full voice as it was always meant to sound.